Hello and welcome to my presentation on the uses of artificial intelligence, the applications, the good and the bad. So, allow me to begin with asking you guys this question. How often would you say that you use artificial intelligence, AI, perhaps? And would you say that it serves of a great function and use in your life? Can you honestly say that you have your fair share of skepticism? I'm sure anyone can. It's normal, actually. It's human, right? So, what I want to cover in today's conversation is how it serves in your life and if the pros outweigh the cons. So, let's get straight into this, okay? There are a variety of different applications that artificial intelligence can have in one's life, and there are so many options that people can explore. You see, applying artificial intelligence in a variety of different ways can be beneficial, but it can be just as beneficial as it is also concerning. For example, an artificial intelligence aided program was used to help advance studies in schools located in lower income areas in China. In fact, applying artificial intelligence in education has a long history going back to at least the 1960s. Nowadays, an increasing number of artificial intelligence associated applications are used in the education field, such as robot teachers, intelligent tutoring systems, massive online learning courses, and etc. In fact, some of you might have already noticed and witnessed the first application, one of many of the first applications of artificial intelligence with this smartboard, essentially. You know, that big, thin, yet also bulky looking screen that teachers would roll into the room, and they would calibrate it simply by pressing with the stylus the specific points. I'm sure some of you were jovial enough to actually raise your hand to actually volunteer to calibrate the board. I know I was. That's just my nerd speaking. Anyways, besides that, understanding that in its applications, it has helped advance education as a whole serves as a pinnacle of industrial yet also technological revolution. But there is a healthy amount of skepticism about artificial intelligence because we all know that there are tons of concerns about its use in today's world. You have things such as software malfunctions, algorithm bias, and even data security. Now, to simplify all three of those, software malfunctions, as we all know, are inevitable. No matter what you're dealing with, if you're dealing with your iPhone that has an excessive battery drain to a computer that doesn't even know how to run Microsoft Word, let alone this program, it's normal, it's routine, but it's also an aspect of what comes with dealing with artificial intelligence as it serves as a operating system enhancer. Through tons of algorithm are flaws, but most notably the ones that continue to perpetuate its advancement. Sometimes there are black boxes, and black boxes essentially are holes of information that should be filled with data. It's kind of like a blank text box on a document, so to speak. Think of it that way. Now, you also have another flaw of artificial intelligence, which is algorithm bias. Algorithm bias is essentially defined as information that is being taught to the bot that to some is perceived as something completely different. For example, Google actually relatively 3 to 4 months ago released their beta version of their chatbot named Gemini. It sparked a lot of controversy simply because its image generator would generate images of historical figures being black. And as funny as that may sound, and also ironic, there were assertions that Google essentially made a quote woke AI. And I guess there are certain viewpoints that I think are valid, but that doesn't take away from the fact that when you have people that have serious inquiry in this technology or the information that it provides, that it can be skewed information based off of the algorithms that the engineering team taught the chatbot or the artificial intelligence. You also have to risk that there is another con, being that data security is of easily access, meaning that any simple novice can take upon themselves to look up anyone's information on there if they chose to take advantage of that. It poses an existential threat to security and national security on a whole scale, but I don't think people or engineers for this matter would get as creative as to create this kind of stuff that is easily accessible to just the average person. Come on. Let's not dismiss the fact that government also within of itself is working on artificial intelligence in certain applications. But I won't get too conspiratorial. That's besides the point here. We also have to look into the opposite of things, guys. We have to look at the pros of artificial intelligence and the uses that it can have in everyday society. Now, as we live in a world that's consistently technologically advancing ever since the internet, you have to also factor in that because of this wide access to a database of information, it's inclusive to what these engineers train or program their chatbots to have. But, if you take upon yourself to explore the web of chatbots and artificial intelligence uses, you'll find that there's a huge library of it. But you have to be very discerning when it comes to exploring these kind of tools to your advantage. But it's good that you have these because they already exist in everyday applications. Take your iPhone, for example. It already uses an M1 chip that is using artificial intelligence on the software side to essentially help with the technology that facilitates the phone's multiple processes on a day in, day out range through RAM. Same thing for computers as well, utilizing the Windows operating system to help advance a more diverse search tool for its users. Apple does the same thing with Siri. They're also integrating AI into that as well. But you also have growing prominence because you have tech companies that are starting to take advantage of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Take, for example, Tesla. Elon Musk innovated artificial intelligence in his own vehicles to simply learn itself through, for example, self-driving. Full self-driving beta is completely taught through machine learning, which is fascinating. You have robots teaching itself how to understand and recognize its environments. And I think that as it continues to grow in prominence, people will become more susceptible to its applications and might take upon themselves to actually do the research or even use it in their own applications. Now, I want you all to understand that despite the continued growing skepticism about artificial intelligence and its uses, there isn't anything to be too concerned about. With being able to now have the option to teach your own chatbot how to create a business, to even learning how to essentially speak up to your own feelings about your romance with somebody that you have a romantic interest with. It can serve a lot of uses. It can teach you even how to play sports. I'm laughing because it's true. I've actually done a few pieces of research myself. I don't know how to play sports besides soccer. But that's only the tip of the iceberg, guys. I could go on and on for hours, but I only have so much time here. But I will say that in this presentation, I hope you've gathered the uses of artificial intelligence in academic settings, the cons that it can have in its flaws and vulnerabilities, but also the pros and understanding that its uses and growing in prominence will eventually help yield more results than questions. That is my presentation today on artificial intelligence, and I sincerely appreciate you guys for tuning in on this wonderful presentation. I hope that each and every single one of you have learned something valuable